Welcome today. I'm here with my friend Paul Baloche, a well known worship leader and songwriter. He's written songs that are singing in the church. One of them is Open the Eyes of My Heart. Paul and I have been friends for many years, and I wanted to visit with him briefly to talk about transition. What I've learned is that really all of life is moving from one transition to another. And what I've found is transition's not just change. Change is inevitable even if you don't want it to be. But transition is not just change, it's a series of changes designed to move you to a new destination, move you in a different direction. And so I wanted to talk with my friend Paul to find out some of the lessons he's learned or an observation he's gathered from some of his transitions. And so, Paul, welcome today. It's good to have you with us.
Thanks, Mike. Always great to see you.
It's great to be with you. Paul and I've had a chance to do a lot of fun things together, and when I was leading
hmm
Integrity Music for many years, so Paul, you've had a number of very interesting things happen in your life where God took you from one thing to another, and
hmm
sometimes it can happen when you're in the valley and you're learning, from that experience, and then He takes you to the mountaintop, and other times it can be as you're going up the mountaintop to the next chapter, lessons are
Yeah.
learned. So I'd appreciate if you'd share with those watching what's one or two lessons you've learned in your journey.
Well, great question. You're right. Changes, transitions, they're unavoidable. And so, first of all, just bringing that to our attention, making us more aware of the fact that many of us, even at this moment, might be going through a transition and most likely are of some kind. But when I think about, being born and raised outside of Philadelphia, and then again coming to the Lord, that transition, and then feeling a call to go to a music school in LA, and being a guitar player, meeting some artists there, and then in Muscle Shoals, that was a transition, moving from LA to Muscle Shoals, and then playing with different artists, Lenny LeBlanc being one, and others, and then moving back to Jersey to get married. So that's a transition to get married, and then along comes a first child, so that's a transition.
Yes.
And then the call to go to Texas. So then we've loaded up our Ford Escort and moved to Last Days Ministries. And that was a huge transition to go from being, born in the Northeast to Texas, which was culture shock, and living in a commune or a community, if you will. And, uh, and just kind of chasing as I look back, what is the thread there? I guess there were a few things, keeping your eye on this vision. Um, you sort of have a sense of, I love the Lord. I love music,
Mm-hmm.
not to the same degree, but I love the Lord. I love this music that exalts Him, and yet it's good music, and I'd love to be involved in that. I don't know how. I don't even know, but I don't know what road to take. But just being a steward and being faithful, whatever season that was. So as you would transition, still keeping your eye on the goal of, well, I'm looking for ways to continue to grow in God, and opportunities to use music as a vehicle to express that love and that desire to follow Him and know Him. And so I think maybe that's a lesson learned looking back in transitions, is identifying what a handful of things that are really important. You want to keep moving in the direction of those things, big picture things. And then the parts of the journey that sometimes it's downhill, sometimes it's uphill, sometimes it's you're on a mountaintop and it's exciting and there's a breakthrough, and other times you feel like you're in a desert and you're kind of lost, and
Mm-hmm.
kind of your compass, I guess, is a good analogy, just keeping that true north, moving toward the thing that you felt like the Lord spoke to you in your heart, continuing to move forward, to move toward that. And that helps you weather the storms of transition, I believe.
Yes.
And so, yeah, yeah.
So finding those two or three major things that are themes in your life that you can observe and know, okay, God said this to me. I've seen God moving my life in this area. In your case, a deep love for the Lord and music, the amazing music experiences even before you moved to Texas. And then since then, many more amazing experiences. But keeping those sort of like buoys in a harbor, kind of keeping those lined up and moving toward that as a bigger picture focus
Yes.
was very
Yes.
helpful to you in guiding you.
Right. Right. So that through each transition, you're not starting from scratch. You're not starting all over
That's good.
and going like, okay, what direction do I start moving in? It's like, no, you keep following the compass true north, or the buoy is a good example. Lots of analogies where we just keep our eye on the lighthouse. I see the light, just keep, here comes the fog, here comes a storm, more fog. I can't, oh, there, I still see a glimmer.
Yeah.
There it is. Just keep
Yeah.
moving toward that. So
Yeah.
I think there's something there for us to keep in mind.
Well, I know that many of those watching and listening to us would have experienced this, and that is transition can be very disorienting. Uh,
Hmm.
I mean, there's so many things that happen in life you don't expect. I don't know many people. In fact, I can't think of any person whose life turned out the way they planned it. There are always surprises. There are always unexpected things.
Hmm.
And when you run into disruptions and unexpected things that trigger transitions, what you're saying, I think, is so important that it's keeping the bigger picture in mind and what God said to you and how you've been focused and the way He's moved in your life before. And for those of you that are going through transition, or you've been through transition in the past and you're not in one now, guess what? You're going to get to do it again.
Uh-huh.
Because transition, as Paul listed already, from marriage to children to geographical moves to musical development to school to, we all go through transitions.
Yeah.
And if you would like to learn more about transition and how you can better interpret what's going on and what God might be saying to you, I want to invite you to join me on May 4th through the 6th. I'm doing over 3 days, a 1 hour session each day at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 12 to 1, and then there'll be question and answers that follow. But would love to have you join me. It's totally free on each of those days, and you can register by going to mikecoleman.com/transition, mikecoleman.com/transition, and you can register. If you register, you're able to access recordings of those sessions for a limited period of time in case you miss a session. But we'd love to have you join us. And I really appreciate, Paul, what you shared about keeping your eye on true north, on the compass. And really appreciate you being with us today and look forward to more times of fellowship with you.
Appreciate you, Mike. Let me just say, anyone that has the opportunity to hear Mike, he's been such a mentor and a friend to me for many, many years, over 3 decades. And this transition course, which I went through last year, was just so enlightening, just biblically based. So it's not just another business podcast on transition, but it's biblically based. And with Mike's sort of, he just has a like a prophetic gift, if you will, in the healthiest sense of that word, to sort of really carve a direction and help bring clarity to whatever it is you're transitioning through. So I just want to like endorse. He didn't ask me to. I'm just going to go ahead and put that stamp of endorsement to say, if you have a chance to tune in, and I believe hearing Mike's heart and the things that are on his heart, that you'll get clarity for your life situation and transition.
Thank you. Join us next week, May 4th through the 6th. Thank you, Paul, so much for being with us today.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
until next time, the Lord bless you and may He grant you clarity to know the way to go.
Amen.
Thank you. Bye bye.